Hello there, my name is Peter Thompson and we're going to discuss in this DVD the first move of the backswing. It's sometimes called the move away, sometimes called the takeaway, sometimes called the first move. It doesn't matter what it's called really, because when the golf swing has started, something has to move, otherwise the golf club will stay completely still. So we have to move the golf club, and the club is attached to your hands, which are then on the end of your arms, which are then attached to your shoulders, which all sounds pretty obvious, but if you follow the logic, if you turn your chest round, then your arms will move back in a certain way. But if you move your arms back independently, they will always go out because there's no room to come round. So the first move, to me, is always a body turn, assuming of course the posture is reasonably sound and the aim is pretty sound. If you're aiming a long way to the right, this is called a close stance, then the club's going to come too far around behind you and the ball will go out to the right because that's where you're aiming. If you aim too far to the left, the club will go too far out, that's called an open stance, and the ball will probably go to your left, but it's still gone straight, you're just aiming the wrong direction. So we will assume that the stance is fairly square, maybe slightly open. All good golfers tend to stand slightly open. So then, having got the grip and the posture reasonably correct, we have to look at the first movement. The first move to me is you turn your chest round and you turn your hips round, and the golf club comes round in a circle. The club head does not and should not go back in a straight line, because if you try and go back in a straight line, all you will do is sway. The club head also should not and does not go back low to the ground. Again, same problem. If the club head goes back low to the ground, then you will sway. If you try and go back too straight, you'll sway. Low to the ground, you'll sway. If you try and transfer your weight in the first part of the backswing, you'll also tend to sway. So believe me, with a good posture, a good stance, your weight transference in the backswing will be automatic. So in the backswing, please ignore your weight. First move back. Hip turns, chest turns. They in turn will move your arms, and your arms in turn will move the golf club. Chest, hips turn, arms move, club moves. I have a brilliant method for teaching the takeaway that all of my pupils understand and practice, and it's what I call hiding the shaft. You may wonder what that means. Well, I will show you. If you go back too far with your arms outside, then the shaft is still visible. If you come too far around by turning too far, then the club is still visible. If, however, you turn round the right amount and move your arms away from you correctly, then, almost like magic, the shaft disappears. If you use a mirror to practice this, I can almost guarantee you'll improve your golf, because you've got the first move, the takeaway, where it needs to be, making the rest of the swing fairly simple. The takeaway up to this point is about 85% of the shot. Addressing the ball is 75%. The first move back, halfway back, is another 10%, because the entire backswing is 20%. So 75% at address, another 10% in the first move. We now have 85% of the shot sorted out, and we've only gone back halfway with the club parallel to the ground. So watch that again. It's called hide the shaft. Use a mirror. I'm using the screen in front of me, and if I swing back pretty well, then I cannot now see the shaft because it's hidden between the hands and the club head. Club head, hands in line, shaft disappears. Too much hinge, we can see the shaft. Incorrect hinge, this way or this way, we can see the shaft. A good wrist hinge and a good body turn and a good arm lift combined will create that position where the shaft disappears. Shaft visible, still visible, slowly it will disappear. Now we can't see it, and then it will reappear as we continue. Halfway back, shaft parallel to the ground, that's good. Halfway back, shaft parallel to the ground, club heads disappeared. So, I'm going to show you one or two brilliant golfers now on my computer screen, and we'll watch and see what their hands do, and where their hands go will illustrate what they're doing with the rest of their body. The hands should be moving round in an arc as your body is turning round, and as you turn round your arms are going to lift upwards into the sky. Turn, lift. Turn and lift properly, club disappears. Too much turn, too much lift, too much wrist hinge, not enough wrist hinge, and the shaft is still visible, so hide the shaft. It's a brilliant way of practicing your takeaway. Use a mirror, hide the shaft. Shaft's gone, still there obviously, but can't see it, and that now means you're in a great position to continue to the top of the backswing, still in a good position, and then come down and hit the ball. So go across to my computer screen and I'll show you a few brilliant golfers, and we'll watch their hands and see where they go in the takeaway or the move away, whatever you wish to call it. So let's go and have a look. And we'll start with Bobby Jones. Bobby Jones retired from playing golf when he was 28 years of age, only 28. Stopped playing golf because in 1930 he won the US Open, beating all the pros for the 4th time. He won the US Amateur for the 5th time. He won the British Open for the 3rd time, beating all the pros, and he won the British Amateur Championship for the 1st time. He then thought, how do I improve on this? And thought that he couldn't, so he stopped playing competitive golf and went on to build a golf course. You may know the golf course, it's called the Augusta National, where they play the Masters every year. So this man is obviously very talented at playing golf and other things as well. We're going to watch his hands and watch his hips. It's a bit of an old film, I'm afraid, but it'll work pretty well. Watch his hands, and the hands move away from the line because his body is turning. Watch the hip pocket, watch the side pocket. There goes the hip turn. His tie is now appearing because he's turning his hips and his chest, and automatically as he does that, then the hands move away from the line. The hands in the backswing move away from the target line. And there's his swing. Man was a genius. Let's look at someone else now. Let's look at Ben Hogan, I think. Everyone likes Ben Hogan's swing, I certainly do. Ben Hogan won 9 major championships, admired throughout the world as being one of the best golf ball strikers who has ever lived, and we'll watch what he does. Watch the hands against the line, and the hands move away from the line because the body is turning. Hands away, body turning. Hands away, body turning. The hips and the chest move the arms move the club, and because the hips and chest are going round, then the arms come round, and therefore the club comes round. Let's go on to John Daly. so-called non-conventional swing. He's won 2 major championships, and many aspects of his swing are absolutely superb. Again, watch the right trouser pocket, watch his chest, and watch the hands against the vertical line, and you'll see the hip turn and the chest turn move the arms, so his hands move away from that line. Always turning round. Long swing, that's why it's called Long John, but aspects of his swing are identical to Bobby Jones and to Ben Hogan. A very successful golf swing. One of my pupils, Gary Wolstenholme, has been the best English amateur golfer of all time, and he's now a successful professional on the European Seniors Tour, making an awful lot of money. He's doing really well, I'm pleased. And I've taught him for 12 years, and this is his takeaway, and we spent hours and hours and hours on the takeaway just on the first move. And if you can imagine, if the first movement is wrong, then the rest of the swing will also possibly be wrong. So watch the right shoulder turning, watch the chest, that's appearing, and the hip turn and the chest turn moves the arms, so the hands move away from this vertical line, so therefore the hands are moving away from the target line. The arms move as a result of the turn, not the other way round, because the arms will not necessarily turn the body, but the body will certainly move the arms. So turn first and push your hands away from you. That's a great takeaway. Another of my pupils got down to +3 handicap, which is a phenomenally good handicap. And again, we'll watch his takeaway. We'll watch his hands on the vertical line. Great things, computers. I've been using them now for, gosh, 15, 20 years, I guess, and cameras for well over 30 years, and they certainly have revolutionized my teaching and lots of the golf pros as well. So watch Tom's first move, watch the little badge on his hip there, and the badge is disappearing, and it's now disappeared. And his right shoulder will start to move around, as will the left shoulder, because the chest is moving, and as a result of the turn his hands have moved away from that line. And the club is parallel to the ground. You can see now that the club head is in line with the hands, so even though the picture's a bit blurry, you actually cannot see the shaft. It's a great way of practicing, is to hide the shaft. And that's a great golf swing. +3 handicap. Let's watch the 2011 Open champion, Darren Clark. Everyone likes Darren Clark. I certainly think he's a great guy. And we'll watch the first move. This was taken at the Masters in 2004. I went there as a guest of Gary Wolstenholme, who'd won the amateur in 2003, so he gave me 2 tickets, which was fantastic. Wonderful place. If you have the chance to go there, just go. It's brilliant. Watch the hips, watch the shoulders, watch the hands, and the hands have moved away from the vertical line. Everyone so far has moved away from the vertical line. It's one of the common denominators. That's what all good golfers tend to do. That's a great golf swing. Tiger Woods, winner of 14 major championships. I love this particular shot because it's nicely silhouetted and the camera angle is quite low, so we can watch the club head, and the club head, when he goes back, will move away from the ground and away from the vertical line, and his hands will move away from this vertical line because his body is turning round. There's the turn, hands away from the vertical line, club head moving away from the vertical line and away from the ground. because the takeaway is turning around, lifting your arms, hinging your wrists at the same time. That's a brilliant shot. All my pupils have shown this to show them that the club head doesn't go back low to the ground, as you can see. It doesn't go back straight, as you can see, and the body is turning, so the hands move away from that line. My teaching is based on how good golfers have played golf over the last 100 years or more. Bobby Jones was back in the 1920s, 1930s. This is a very up-to-date golf swing, and they're all doing the same thing. So let's just go back on the mat, and we will just conclude the takeaway. So you've seen some of the best golfers who've ever lived, some people I teach who are quite brilliant, and Bobby Jones, Tiger Woods, Ben Hogan, all phenomenal good golfers, and they're not doing exactly the same thing, but they're all following the same theme. And the theme was that in the takeaway, the hip turned back and the chest turned round, and that in turn moves the arms, which in turn moves the club. In fact, Bobby Jones, he used to turn round with his left hip first and leave the club head on the ground, and then the hip turned, moved the chest moved the arms, and then eventually the club went back as well. That's one way of doing it, and he was a genius, so it can't be wrong. Most modern golfers tend to move everything back in one piece, but not in the same direction. Your arms are lifting, and your wrists are hinging, and your chest is turning, and your hips are turning. Add all that together in the right sequence and at the right time, and you wind up there when the shaft is more or less disappeared. That'll be okay. A lot of good golfers do that. Not many do that. So that's fine, and that's fine. The important thing is that you turn round. So there's a takeaway. As I see it, the stance is 75% of the shot, the backswing is 20% of the shot, half of the backswing, halfway back, shaft parallel to the ground is 10% of the shot, so 75 at the address position, another 10 there, that's 85% of the shot sorted out. All I ever practice really is that bit. I'm pretty confident if I can get this bit right and then simply continue, I'm going to hit a half decent shot that goes pretty straight most of the time. Not all the time, because that's impossible. Turn, hands go back, continue the turn, and another half decent golf shot. So there's the takeaway. Please watch good golfers, go to tournaments, watch films, go to practice grounds at the Open or wherever you can, and watch the takeaway, and rather than watching the shots, watch what they're doing, because they will produce the swing to hit the shot, not just try and produce the shot. Most golfers, maybe including you, think more about the shot than you do about how to produce a shot. The shot comes afterwards. Gripping, aiming, standing, taking it away, finishing the backswing, little pause, start the downswing, and then you hit the shot. So think about what you're doing to produce a shot rather than just the shot. Turn, hide the shaft. I hope that helps, and I hope it improves your golf, and thank you for listening. Thank you very much.